we do have a larger than usual group of participants for today's press conference. So I wanted to go very quickly and do some introductions so everyone knows who we have. Listed as MS Cops UMSL, because that's where they're at. We have current chair Julia Burnsick and chair-elect Daryl Chapman, who are here. We also have President Choi, as always, and we're also joined today by the chancellors from University of Missouri in Kansas City, Molly Agrawal, Missouri University of Science and Technology, Mo Degani, and University of Missouri St. Louis Chancellor Kristen Sobolek. I also know we have other members of the Board of Curators. I see student curator Remen Williamson on here, as well as curator Greg Hobrock, and Robin Winokur as well. So saying that, we do have a few topics that we'd like to cover first before we'll open it up for questions. And the first topic that we want to touch on is the election of the officers. And so I'm going to hand it over first to Chair Burnsick to talk about her past year on the board and any comments she wanted to make about Chair-elect Chapman. Chair Burnsick?
Thank you, Christian. Yeah, it's been a wild year, and I'm really excited that we have so many good news stories to report here after such a tough year that everyone has shared in together. Really excited about the well, I'll get into the gifts and the support that we've had in a moment, but I'm still a little flustered by Chair-elect Chapman's remarks after he was elected, and it is a great privilege and honor to introduce him here as your next chair. And Daryl and I have been serving on the board together since 2017, so we were kind of in the same freshman class together, if you will. So I'm really excited that he is your next leader, and I know that you guys are going to have a really incredible year with him at the helm. So,
thank you, Julia.
And Vice Chair-elect Greg Hobrock and I have only had the pleasure of working together during this past year. We haven't even met in person properly, but I can tell you that I'm really excited to see him taking this leadership role. Greg is a smart businessman with a strong financial acumen, and he is similar to Daryl in that he is willing to take on the tough challenges and do the work. And I think that I've really enjoyed getting to know him virtually. Unfortunately, that's the only way we've gotten to know each other. But he's, we both have some common areas of the state that we have grown up and family. And so I know what kind of person he is, and you're getting definitely a real show me state Missourian with Greg.
Chair-elect Chapman, do you want to make some comments?
Well, I just want to say it's a privilege and honor to be elected as the next chairperson. I would like to, when we get going next year, I'm really excited, to work with Moon and the administration on the initiatives that we have moving forward. We want to continue to grow research, improve student success, increase community engagement, all those important things that that Moon and all of our chancellors always emphasize. So we're really excited to get things moving forward.
Great, thank you. Our next topic is that we wanted to talk about specifically one announcement that was made today on today's board meeting, as well as other highlights from our fundraising efforts over the past year. So I'm going to pass it off to President Choi to start this topic discussion.
Well, we announced a number of major gifts today, but I would like to start by asking Chancellor Degani to share what these two gifts from the Commerce and the Doshis mean for his university, but also what it means for the system and the state as a whole.
Thank you, President Choi. Let me just take a second and thank Chair Bronsig for her service and Curator Chapman for that beautiful, moving memory piece. Thank you. Thank you very much. President Choi, as you highlighted, we have received two wonderful, wonderful gifts. One was from June and Fred Comer, who were graduates of our civil engineering program. Fred was, and he gave us a remarkable gift of $300 million. With that, we will announce soon positions of endowed chairs, endowed professors, undergraduate program. We are titling it at Vanguard Commerce Scholars Programs. We will announce 100 doctoral fellowship programs. And overall, Fred's vision for us has been to elevate the status of the university and expose more of Missouri students to STEM education. And then the second pillar of his vision is to have economic impact for South Central Missouri, for the state of Missouri, and for the nation. As far as the university goes, this is a game changer for us in every aspect of the university life: academics, scholarship, students, even some of our infrastructure facilities, and so on. So we are absolutely delighted with that. As far as the system impact goes, of course, when Missouri S&T is elevated, the system is elevated, but we will have a whole series of collaborative activities that are ongoing. We are going to establish 4 centers of excellence, and there'll be many collaboration opportunities with our system campuses. Talking about the next gift, the second gift, which is Linda and Bipin Doshi. Bipin is a graduate of our chemical engineering program. He has made an enormous success on his career, and he wanted to contribute to the university. He felt that his success was mainly due to his education at Missouri S&T. And so he gave us $10 million. As you mentioned, President Choi, this is going to really energize our Department of Chemical and Biochemical Engineering. There'll be opportunities for 2 endowed chair positions, graduate scholarships, and some other activities at the discretion of the chair of the department. And with that gift, we are naming our Department of Chemical and Biochemical Engineering as Linda and Bipin Doshi Chemical and Biochemical Engineering Department. There'll be a lot coming forth on both gifts. I'll just say stay tuned. Thank you.
Next up, I'd like to ask Chancellor Sobolik to share some words about the $4 million gift that was provided by the Paz family. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, President Choi. We are very pleased with a $4 million gift for scholarships that we received from George and Melissa Paz. And this is actually the largest gift in the history of our university as well. We're a younger university and growing. And we are absolutely fortunate to have George Paz as the chair of our Chancellor's Council. He's also an alumnus of the university and the previous president and CEO of Express Scripts. And as you may remember, Express Scripts is actually located directly on our campus, and we have a lot of communication and collaboration with that institution going forward as it's Express Scripts, as well as Cigna. So we are very pleased at the generosity of George and Melissa Paz and are very thankful for that scholarship support for our students.
Thank you. Next up is Chancellor Agrawal to talk about the gift from Gary and Sherry Forsey.
Thank you, President Choi. Last year was a banner year for UMKC in terms of fundraising as we broke all of our historical records, and we have hit the ground running this year as well. We are thrilled about this next step for the Next Gen Data Science and Analytics Innovation Center, also known as DSAC. And we would like to thank Sherry and Gary Forsey for their generosity for this $2 million gift and for their shared vision to make this happen. DSAC is based at UMKC, but is an exciting collaboration with the University of Missouri and Columbia. And I'm excited about that because this is the first time these two universities are collaborating on a center of excellence. And we are already hiring faculty jointly. This initiative will provide facilities and personnel to analyze, process, and store massive data sets. And I'm not talking about gigabytes or megabytes, talking about petabytes and zettabytes. And it will conduct leading-edge high-performance computing, provide those services to others in order to solve critical problems faced by our society. And also, it will produce a skilled workforce to meet the growing industry demand for data analytics. So DSAC will provide new capabilities to our researchers, to our educators and students, but the impact will be much broader. The center will provide strategic information and analysis capabilities for private industry, businesses, governments, and civic institutions that will optimize the resources, anticipate challenges, and uncover cutting-edge solutions in marketing, finance, and beyond. And these insights can really benefit the Kansas City businesses such as Cerner, Garmin, H&R Block, organizations in Missouri, and then people across the world. But just back to health, because DSAC will be supporting the Next Gen Precision Health Initiative as well. Precision health is the goal of precision health is to do away with one-size-fits-all medical treatments and get to personalized care. And just to give you an example of how that can work, one of our faculty members here, Dr. John Spurtis, who is a faculty in a School of Medicine at UMKC and provides cardiac care through St. Luke's Hospital. He is one of the researchers guiding this project, and he's nationally known. He uses big data to deliver individualized cardiac healthcare at the lowest possible risk and cost by matching big data from millions of patient outcomes from before with specific data for each patient in order to determine that one treatment that's most likely to succeed for that patient at hand. So we are really excited about this. This is going to transform lives. I believe truly that the path forward for our institutions is bright, and it's going to be lit by data analytics. So thank you.
Thank you. At Mizzou, on Monday, Pat and Sandy Hyatt contributed a $5 million gift for unrestricted use, half by the School of Journalism to develop the newsroom of the future, and the other half to support the botanic garden that exists at the university. In fact, the entire 725 acres at the university is a botanic garden, and through this gift, we will continue to enjoy the beauty of this campus. So with that, let me turn it back to Christian Basie.
Thank you, President Choi. We're going to move on to our third topic today of 4, and that is to discuss, just briefly, to add some comments from Chair Burnsick about the new governance and structure report that was discussed today. You also should have received a press release that we sent out shortly after that discussion. So if you didn't get the release, let me know. But Chair Burnsick, do you have any additional comments about that?
Yeah, thank you for asking, Christian. I'm thrilled at the progress that the council has made in response to the request from the board that was given just back in July. If you've had a chance to read the report, I think that you would agree that it's very specific. It's also very thorough, and it demonstrates that the council is working hard and working well together, which was exactly what we envisioned. There's more to be done. It's obviously a living plan. We haven't finalized it or taken the step to approve it as a board yet, because from the outset, we were committed to being transparent, and every step of the way, I think we've done that. So we, when the board got the report from the council, I believe the same day we made it available to others. And so because that work was just completed shortly before the board meeting, we wanted to provide the community an opportunity to review it and provide any feedback or comments that we will collect by next Friday. And then the council will consider the feedback generated and then produce a final recommendation to the board that we will, I believe, vote on. We're looking to vote on that before the end of the year. But I think it's a lot of really great work done, very collaborative, and I think it has kept to the spirit of the exercise, which is to allow for more autonomy of each of the chancellors to run the programs and the demands that are needed in their communities, and also to allow voices to be given by each university with respect to system-related decisions. So I couldn't be happier.
President Choi, do you want to make any comments about the governance structure, or do we want to move on to the next topic?
There's nothing much more to add beyond what the chair stated, and all four chancellors are very excited about this new structure. We're also very mindful of the challenging periods that we will be facing, and collaboration, I think, will be a key to all of our mutual success.
So moving on to the last of the four topics that we wanted to talk about. Yesterday, reporters should have received a press release announcing our third tier research funding. This is a series of research funding that we've been having for the last several months. And so we wanted to offer some comments on that, and I'm going to turn it over again to President Choi.
Thank you, Christian. At all four of our universities, arts, humanities, and social sciences serve as such an important foundation for the scholarly work that our faculty members pursue. And our faculty members are uniquely qualified to lead those efforts. And in the areas that I just described, unfortunately, there is not much external funding, but we need to continue to produce unique and groundbreaking scholarship. I mentioned just 4 of the 23 projects during the presentation, but these projects really delve into how the arts, humanities, and social sciences helps improve the education of our students so that they understand the broader impacts of the disciplines that they're studying, but also at the same time humanizes their development as individuals. So we're very excited about this investment, and it goes to show the university's commitment, the board's commitment to pursue scholarly activity in diverse areas.
Having a little problem with my unmute button. So that concludes our 4 topics that we wanted to cover. I do want to open it up for questions now. We have a few reporters here, but I think that we've got enough time that I can let each of you ask a question or two. And so, Xander, actually, you're in my upper left-hand corner, so you get to go first. Do you have a question?
Hi, yes, thank you. President Choi, earlier you mentioned that the University of Missouri System is a premier American Association of Universities public research institution. Mm-hmm. But MU faculty compensation is among the very, very lowest of all AAU public research universities. Mm-hmm. Could you comment on what more you believe MU and the UM system needs to do to improve the salary gap between administrators and faculty, mm-hmm. women, and Black or Indigenous people of color?
Mm-hmm. So, Xander, thank you. And when I joined the university in 2017, the compensation of our faculty and staff was the top topic that we discussed within the board and within the administration. And you may recall in 2017, we had to make a $100 million cut across the entire UM system. But we made a commitment at that time, even with the significant challenges, that we would have a merit increase that year. And we did that, I believe, for 3 years. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic and the resulting recessions, we were not able to do that this year. And we were able to move our university, all 4 universities, up in that ranking. In fact, if you look at the U.S. News and World Report, our faculty compensation increased by about $4,000 on average from year to year. We're going to continue looking at those efforts to make investments. And this is a time where we know that we have to make investments in areas of excellence, and faculty and staff are the people that deliver that area of excellence. When it comes to disparities in both gender disparities and as well as disparities based on race when it comes to compensation, I'm going to continue to ask our HR department as well as our IDE department to look into ways that we can help address those. Now, in some cases, the differences are due to reasons that we can all expect exist. But if there are disparities that are systemic, then we will take actions. So, Xander, thank you.
Thank you, Xander. Victoria, do you have a question?
Yes, in regards to the approval of the new Children's Hospital, when is integration of the current Women's and Children's Hospital and the central campus expected to begin?
So the planning process will begin in earnest now. There's been some draft plans. I expect that it'll begin next year, but it's going to take some time to prepare our facilities on the main campus here to accommodate the moves. But our goal is to rapidly make that transition to avoid additional costs that that building will incur because of the envelope work that needs to be done and so forth. And that's the primary reason for us moving very fast in this project.
Eli, do you have a question?
Yeah, for Chair Brncic, so with the appointment of curators being a political process and there being some party restrictions on alignments for curators, after a year in your position, how much do you see the Board of Curators as a political entity, both in terms of its purpose and how it operates and functions?
I don't think that politics have really come into the boardroom. I can't really comment on it being a political entity from that perspective. And I would have to phone a friend on the specific requirements, but I know that there's typically a balance of political interest represented. I'm the only independent, but I believe that there is already a requirement that a governor has to appoint a relatively equal number of Democrat and Republicans to the board. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Charles, do you have a question?
Yes, this relates to the women's and children's. Kind of what brought about this idea to reintegrate them into the central campus?
The primary motivation was to increase collaboration opportunities. And when we looked at the cost of running 2 separate surgical units, 2 separate emergency department, and the staffing that's required, as well as the instrumentation, the expensive instrumentation, it made more sense for us to consolidate. In addition to that, with the Women's and Children's Hospital required some deferred maintenance on the order of tens of millions of dollars that can be better used for us to provide better care, improved care, using the most modern technologies, as well as recruiting and retaining the best doctors and nurses for that purpose. So in many ways, it made sense for us.
I'm going to move over to Ian Russell, who's under the KOMU 8 banner. Ian, do you have a question? Ian does not look like he's got one. Emily, do you have a question?
Not really based on this meeting, no. if one of the curators can answer it, that's fine. If they say that they don't want to, I understand because it's not based on this meeting, but just wanted to know what it looks like for students coming back possibly in January. Are there discussions yet? Are they worried about students coming back from all over? What is the university looking to do?
I would like to actually respond to that, and then I'm going to turn it over to President Choi. We talk about it all the time. Our top priority is the safety of students, and also we are trying to offer an in-person experience to the high demand of people who still want it. So it has been a focus of this past year on every level, and I am absolutely hoping that I won't be here. Maybe I won't be here, but I'm absolutely hopeful that we'll bring people back on campus for that experience in January. And I think every decision that we're making is to further our opportunities to be able to do that. And I'm really proud of the measures that President Choi, the chancellors, and our entire university system have taken when there was absolutely no information really coming and we were making decisions on the fly. I think we've been very successful in preventing a rapid infection spread on campus. Unfortunately, our state and the entire country is seeing a rapid increase in infection. And the CDC is asking us to stop traveling and stop in-person meetings. And we can only accommodate what our hospital systems can support. So I don't know if President Choi, if you'd like to answer more specifically on January's plans.
Yes, January's plans are being developed right now at all 4 universities. And the most important priority for us is to have a safe and healthy return of our students, faculty, and staff. And that is a decision that we're going to be making with our public health officials that in the counties in which we reside, as well as our medical experts that are in-house. And the way that we're going to be making that decision also has to do with what we do between now and then in preparing. What kind of protocols are we going to have for testing? Are there going to be sufficient isolation space? And so we are meeting very frequently to discuss those issues. And just like in the fall term, always be ready to make changes when the situation dictates. And that has allowed us to continue. All 3 universities continue until today with in-person. And Missouri S&T will continue with in-person after Thanksgiving. But if things change, we react to those changes. In many cases, we can predict what's going to happen based on the modeling that exists for the state and the region. So we're going to be very, very focused on this matter between now and when the fall term is to start, spring term is to start in January.
I want to be mindful of the time, and I know that the board has to reconvene for the executive session. So I think we can go with just a couple more questions. I did have a couple of questions that came to me in the chat, so I'm going to go to those now. Eli, you said you had one additional question, and then after Eli, we'll go to Victoria, and then we'll finish up.
Sweet. Thanks, Christian. For Chair-elect Chapman, first, congratulations on the new position. On the docket for January as you begin is the recommendation that's due from the Thomas Jefferson Contextualization Task Force at MU. As you lead the board through that, how do you prepare to handle what that recommendation might be as it comes in January?
Well, I would hate to prejudge that because we haven't seen anything concrete just yet. So I want to reserve any comments on that until we actually see something, and then we'll discuss it. But until then, you know, I'm not comfortable commenting because we just haven't seen anything concrete yet.
And then our last question from Victoria. Victoria, you said you had a question about women and children's?
Yes, I was wondering, what are the plans for the current Women's and Children's Hospital once that new children's hospital is built?
We have not decided on what the final dispensation will be, but options are on the table, whether to keep that as a building for swing space use or perhaps lease the facility or to sell it. So all options are on the table, and we will be providing a recommendation to the board for the board's decision sometime, I expect, next year.
Thank you very much. Do we have any parting comments, either from the chair-elect, the president, or the other chancellors that are here? Any other comments that we want to provide? Okay, all right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I really appreciate it.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
That's right. Thanks, everybody. And let me know, as always, if you have other questions. Take care. Bye-bye.